Hi, everyone, and welcome to a brand new series called The Codependence Conspiracy Files. Um, I wanted to make a new series about codependency because codependency is a beast like on its own. It's really, I was codependent. I was codependent for, I don't know, probably my entire dating life, my entire adolescent life. And I really do feel it conspires against you. Like codependence, it makes you believe that you're doing good things. It makes you, put away your needs, in for the greater good of others. Like someone asks you, oh, you know what it is. Like you put your needs aside for somebody else. That's basically what it is. You put your needs aside for anything else. Like you want the last piece of pizza, but you don't want to give it, or you can you but you don't want to give it, but you give it away anyway, right? Or you have a big night planned out with your friend or whatever, then your partner says, can you cancel? But you don't want to, but you want to anyway because you think, because you love your partner, you think it's the right thing to do, and stuff like that. Like in some of those instances it's okay to say yes, but when you're codependent, you don't have boundaries, you don't really have a sense of self. You know what I mean? And but codependency makes you feel like those things are okay. So it really just sort of hijacks your thinking and takes over your personality, and to the point where you don't really have one. And codependency becomes your personality, right? So this is something that I'm very, 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 very familiar with. Um, And this series is all about, things like how to cope with the symptoms when you're going through it, how to detach yourself from the codependency. Um, what else? There's a third thing that I want to mention too. The symptoms of it, how to cope with it, and how to remove hints and like tricks and stuff like that to help remove codependency from your life, because it is possible. It very, very much is possible. Okay, so to start the series, let's go straight to the question. Afraid to date again. No, what happened? Okay. I, a 22 female, have only been in one serious relationship and I completely lost myself. I dated around for about a year and a half, and with each guy I liked, I just started losing myself again. Meaning, I'm a huge people pleaser. I will change my opinions, music taste, style, legit everything about myself basically to fit his perfect narrative. That is what codependence does. Your personality becomes their personality without even you thinking that your personality is changing. Um, Makes me so mad, and I cringe at myself knowing I've done that in the past just for some guy. Ugh. I've been completely to myself for 2 years, really focusing on me and what I want and like in life, and it's been so, so amazing and freeing. However, I miss being in love and that excited feeling you get when you really like someone. I'm so terrified I will just revert back to square one after all this hard work I have put into myself. I don't even know how my new self would even be in a relationship dynamic, so I guess I can't be too sure our hard on my okay, I guess I can't be too hard on myself, right? And then too long, did it read whatever, whatever. Okay, so I totally understand that because codependency is such a motherfucker to beat, and like find yourself a sense of self and your autonomy and what's important to you and stuff like that you are so afraid of losing it. I totally get that. I was going through that when I was dating as well. So or even just with friends or just with people in general. Like it didn't have to be like an intimate partner. It could have just been like you know a roommate, or just like an acquaintance, like somebody for some reason sort of I just sort of pick somebody that would validate me, or maybe it was just I felt that everybody validated me. Could have been both of those situations. So I really, really get that. So with this particular situation, you have to understand that this is a work in progress, and you will relapse, right? Because you're not going to go out the gate thinking that you're perfect. You know what I mean? You're not gonna come out of rehab or self rehab and be like, okay, I'm no longer codependent. It's it's like you're not, but you're shaking because your stability within yourself hasn't been tested yet, right? So far, it's really good to be single, and it's really good to like do your own thing and be solid in who you are, but you can only but the integrity of that solidity of the solidity has to be tested, right? So that's why it's scary to go back out and start dating again. So what's going to happen is you will you will slip up because codependency, it was not a conscious thing, right? It's an unconscious behavior. So you might end up doing little things that you're like, oh crap, why the hell did I do that? And you get mad at yourself, right? But the most important is that when that does happen, because I 100% guarantee you that it will happen again, you'll revert back into your little ways like, oh, it doesn't matter what I want to listen to, whatever you want to listen to, or whatever, how deep your codependence went. Um, it's very important to recognize that you did that and promise yourself, and like really, 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 really promise yourself that you will never do it again, right? That you'll never again betray yourself that way again. Because if you do, you will feel like total shit. You will. You'll have to go through the process of forgiving yourself, creating a, like wondering why you did all, like wondering why you fell back, and you don't want that. Really try to keep your promises to yourself and keep your boundaries and keep those boundaries clear, because that's how you end up validating yourself in the process, right? Because codependency also involves, because you use the other person to externally validate you, like you needed them to make you feel important or feel like a person, you need to start doing that for yourself. So part of the validation process is adhering to your own rules. Like, oh, I gotta go to bed early Monday to Friday because I got a 9 to 5 job that I gotta be ready for, right? But if let's say on a Wednesday night, you stay up till midnight talking to your partner, and then you feel like shit the next day, right? It depends on how bad, it depends on how bad the habit is. So if you have a really bad habit of that, make that a promise that you'll never do that again. And if your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever partner doesn't understand that, you may have to you may have to reassess the kind of partner you want, because if your partner doesn't help you through your codependent phases, understand what you're going through. But I understand that person's side too. Like your partner has needs, and they've been so used to you to be a certain way, and then one day you realize you're codependent and everything changes, right? So when you're going through your codependent phase and you're trying to weed it out of your system, you will lose friends, you will lose people, and people, or maybe you won't, they'll just look at you a little bit differently and then try to accept the new you. But there are a lot of people who will like you because you're a codependent, and then when you get rid of that and you form your own personality, they might be like, oh, well, this person wasn't really as great as I thought they were, or whatever. But fuck all that, because they weren't into you in the first place, because you weren't you. So don't even worry about that part. Okay? So don't worry about reverting back. You will relapse, but you will catch it and you will fix it and you won't do it again. I caught myself, calling a partner for validation a couple of times. I literally had to say out loud to myself and repeat it to myself all the time: that person is not your happiness. That person is not your happy. Every time I want to call them because I had that itch. Nope, you're not my happiness. I am my own happiness. You're not my happiness. You do not validate me. And then that somehow like got rid of the itch, and I was able to go do something else that was, more important at the time, right? So trust yourself, really, essentially. Okay, trust yourself that you can handle the situation. The stability of your personality will be tested, and don't never ever make promises to yourself to do better when you relapse, and don't break those promises. Okay, I hope that that answers your question. Um, oh, I guess maybe another thing, if you find yourself maybe what's the word? Okay, so if you do end up dating again, you will end up dating again. But if you find yourself like getting caught up in the situation and really, finding it difficult to revert back, what I would do is I would set like harder boundaries. So let's say for example, you and your new partner, you're seeing each other 3 times a week, and you call each other 4 times a day. Or not 4 times a day, 4 times a week, right? Often maybe you call each other in the same day that you see each other, right? Try to make boundaries for your relationship. Like if you see that person that day, don't call them that same night to say goodnight, type of thing, or make rules for yourself. Like let's say for example, at one point what I did for myself was I had a whole bunch of work to do, but my codependence distracted me. So I told myself, you know what, I'm not gonna see my partner until I get this work done. Okay, and then that was the promise to myself. And then when I actually fulfilled that promise, seeing my partner was just so much more fulfilling because I felt like a reward. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you know what? I stuck to my guns. I put in the work. I worked on myself, and now I get to spoil myself with my lover, with my partner, whatever you want to call your partner, right? So that you can think about it that way as well, and that will help cope with the distance and the time apart and the itchy feeling that you get when you want to like latch onto your codependent partner, or when you want to latch onto your partner because your codependence is starting to get to you. Okay, so that's one piece of advice that I can give from my own personal experience. Okay, all right. Next question. Next and last question. Feel unsatisfied when I don't have a relationship. Okay. Right now, I have a good job, a supportive circle of people around me, hobbies and activities, etc. I recently got over my ex who I was very codependent on, and I'm feeling so bored. Even on great days, I end up feeling alone and insignificant. I'm happy but still feeling empty, hence the use of the word unsatisfied. Have any of you struggled with this feeling, and do you have any advice on how to not need a relationship or codependent connection of any kind? That is a really, really, really good question. So here we have a unique situation where this person has a good job, a supportive circle of friends, or a supportive circle of people around them, hobbies and activities, right? So they seem to have everything that a whole person has. Because a lot of people who are codependent, they don't have hobbies and activities, which is why they latch on to the partner so much. Is because when they're bored, they're like, oh my God, what do I do with my time now? Right? But this person seems to have that, right? So I can only assume that this person continued their hobbies and activities, because then it wouldn't be, and because then I guess this wouldn't be, this maybe question wouldn't it really exist from this user? Because my first piece of advice would just be go do your hobbies and activities, right? But that may seem to, but have hobbies and activities, they could be a bit boring. Maybe you're not that interested anymore, or maybe it doesn't engage you as much as you used to, because it's a little, whatever the case may be. Maybe this person's not doing it. So my first advice is, if you're not doing your hobbies, and if you don't have hobbies and activities, take the time to find something that you like, try different things out, and develop those things about you. That will help codependency. If you have hobbies and activities, but you still find yourself bored and feeling codependent and needy, if you haven't had those hobbies in a while, then go back to them. But it really just sounds like you're looking for something um, important, right? Because when it comes to hobbies and activities, they're great to pass the time. Like I sew, I make my own clothing, and I can see how sewing could not satisfy um, my codependent itchiness, right? So because like I can sew but still feel in the back of my head, my subconscious, my codependence, like, oh, you want to call the person, and you want to do it, and you can sew as much as you want, but when you're done your project, the person is still going to be on your mind. You know what I mean? So in this situation, what I would do is I would have to find something that I care about, and it's going to be on a bigger scale, right? So get yourself involved in something bigger, like something that involves like a social cause that'll take your time and energy and care. Like you need to care about it, right? So if you don't care about social causes, then forget all about that stuff. But if you care about animals, or if you care about the homeless, or you care about mental health, you can volunteer as a mental health advocate on something. Care about something outside of yourself, right? And because you care about it, and it's outside of yourself, and essentially because it's outside of yourself, it's bigger than you, it'll take more of your attention to do it, right? Because if you walk into, let's say you care about the elderly, and you walk into a hospital, or your elderly, a nursing home, whatever, you can't be distracted by your partner and try to take care of the elderly at the same time, right? Taking care of the elderly, or getting involved with something of that nature involves a lot of your focus. So it'll take your mind away from the codependent person. Oh, I keep saying that. Keep your mind away from your codependence itch. And that is my advice. Is there anything else, any other advice on how to not need a relationship? Yeah, it would definitely have to be to get involved in a project um, outside of yourself and bigger than yourself that you need, that you care about. That would be my advice. And that way, if you get back into having a relationship, don't drop whatever it is that you used to to sort of cope without having a relationship. Don't drop it. Don't drop one for the other, right? They go together, because once if you have a relationship again, having that side thing that you care about will take away the codependence that you have on that person, because now you have something that's really important to you, that you care about, and it means something to you, and you want to see it grow and do well and help whatever cause, that it's good that you're trying to contribute to, right? And yeah, I think that's it for today. So I hope you enjoyed the codependence conspiracy files, the brand new series for codependence and other people who experience codependence symptoms. Take care, and until next time, bye.